Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting back home at my little cabin in the woods, Murphy's Law, and we have a very special guest tonight. We have one of our official authors, Laura Kemp, who, if you have not been on Facebook and read about Kemp Camp and everything that she does, you are missing out. So, Laura, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Laura.
Yay! I hope more jump on. And if not, this is all being recorded to go on YouTube. But I want to explain to our listening audience that we're going to quickly jump into a discussion of your book and everything because you have a daughter leaving on a trip in the morning. So we've got to get you off of here at 7. So everybody just know we're not going to linger around. So thanks for being here. And Laura, I'm trying to think about how you first came into my vision, but I've been watching you and I jump on board as much as I can on all the things that you're doing. But it's getting pretty full because everybody's trying to do an online presence, but you've got a very unusual thing going and you've got some great books. So I would love you to just kind of fill in for those who don't know you, tell them about your Facebook page and what you do.
Well, I have it's known as a street team, I guess is the official word, called Kemp Camp. I started it, gosh, it's been 2.5 years ago. So I have been around for a little while. And are you guys familiar with Donnie Ruby? She's
Yes.
Book Gypsy. Yeah, she was the one who gave me the idea to start a street team
Cool.
when I first started trying to connect up with people. And she said to invite everybody that I knew, so I did. And slowly but surely, I think that's kind of the key to what's going on at Camp Camp is the slowly and the surely. And I kind of do everything myself. I maybe have some graphics made once in a while, and I kind of have something that I post every day about my book, and there's interaction, and I kind of intersperse it with like funny memes or birthdays or sometimes I do giveaways. So it's never just 24/7 Laura's books. It's other stuff too. I also have authors on for author takeovers, so I'm
It's a
open to
fun
that.
page. It's a really fun page.
Yes.
Thank
And,
you.
and we applaud anybody who's really getting out there and promoting literacy and what you're doing. We're happy to have you here. And we hope everybody will join you and join
Yeah.
us too, because we got exciting news tonight too, don't we, Mandy? But we'll talk about that later. So tell us about the book that we selected for our selection, and then you have a new one. So
Well, I have it. I never have these with me, and I've decided just to keep them by my computer. So so it's Evening in the Yellow Wood is the book that was selected for the December bonus picks. And it's just basically the story of it's a cross genre, so it's really hard to fit it into a neat little like shelf on the bookstore. It doesn't really fit on a shelf. It's a story of a young girl whose father vanishes when she's 12. And then 10 years later, she sees his picture in a newspaper in this very mysterious northern Michigan town. That's where I live. And I spend a lot of time up north. So it's kind of my happy place. And she travels north to find out what happened to her dad. And once she gets to this town, it's been called Twin Peaks meets Heart of Dixie. So it is fish out of water. She meets quirky characters. I would also throw in Northern Exposure, one of my favorite shows from a long time ago.
both of those.
Fabulous, fabulous. Yeah.
Quirky characters, that she meets. And then she has, the romance element with a local cop. She has an older neighbor who kind of is her mentor. And then there's the spooky stuff that comes in. I've had readers say that they can't sleep after they've read some of the parts. So there's horror mixed in with paranormal, with romance, with funny. And then at the end of the book, it could have been a standalone, but I was convinced by my publishing house to then continue it on into a series.
Yes.
So after Evening in the Yellowwood, I do have this one too. Snow and Summer is the second
Beautiful
in the
cover.
series. Thank you.
I love
And
it.
then Home for the Stars is the third, and then it should be the end of the trilogy, but that won't be out until I believe early next year. But it's just the two out right now, and then the first is the one that's being featured in the book club.
Wow. And
Exciting.
you're juggling motherhood and doing this and your blog page. How do you do it? How do you do it?
I don't know. I'm so busy. I just came from Taekwondo. I just took my daughter to Taekwondo. So I've only been home 5 minutes. I have 4 kids. One's at U of M right now. Husband and I are a blended family, so we have the 4 together. And I work as a special education paraprofessional in a middle school. And I do like youth and government advising, and I'm in a band. So in my spare time, I sing in a Celtic band. Yeah.
Okay,
Lead singer in a band.
So what do you sing? Do you play an instrument?
I sing. Yeah, I sing and I do the tambourine, which is, kind of, I said I'm is it Lori Partridge or whoever, the little girl in the Partridge family? That's me. So, but yeah, we do Celtic music and we play a lot around St. Patrick's Day. And then we don't gig much, but we've been together 20 plus years. So we know our songs.
What is the name of the band?
She Begs, She More, which is Gaelic for Big Hill, Little Hill. And it's one of the songs that we play in the band.
I did not know that. You.
We have a page. We have a Facebook page. So
we need to get you to perform at our convention.
Yeah. We did something in the St. Patrick's Day parade last year. We played, like in an intermission. So yeah, we did a virtual show last year.
That would be awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm mostly Welsh. Everybody thinks I'm Irish. I'm a little bit Scot-Irish, but I love that kind of music. And
yeah, I wasn't sure about it because my friend, the leader of the band, roped me into it when I was like 20 years old. He said, I have an idea. You want to join an Irish band? And I was like, I'm 20 years old. What? No. And then I've fallen in love with the music and the culture. And yeah, I love it. It's wonderful music.
Well, you're in the band.
No, well, we have this rotating. Okay, we usually have 8 or 9. It's kind of like a Kaylee. It's like a Kaylee. People come and go. Sometimes we'll have a harp player, but like basically we have me. We have a bass player who also does mandolin and fiddle. Or no, mandolin and banjo. Sorry, we have a fiddle player and a rhythm guitarist, and then a flautist, a flute occasionally. So 5 or 6. And then sometimes extra people come in. It's funny, my kids come in and they do like the cup song from Pitch Perfect, if you guys have ever seen. Pitch Perfect. Okay. So they get their cups and then they do it. So we intersperse it with fun stuff like that. And it's just, we get the crowd involved because, these Irish gigs and these Celtic gigs are really fun when you have crowd participation and everybody's excited. So we have a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, I'm busy. Then I write occasionally when I have a moment.
At any point, would you be willing to sing a little something?
Sure. Yeah.
You want to wait or you want to do something now?
What would you want me to sing?
Anything. We just want to hear you.
Song of the band that y'all do.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go, and I must bide.
I love it. Yay! Fantastic. The one thing when I did my Beauty in the Book show was I always say, is there a hidden talent or something that you do that nobody knows? And I had so many people say, oh, I'm a baton twirler, or like Fanny Flagg, she did bird calls. And it's just always fascinating to me because, I roller skate, or used to roller skate. I used to love to roller skate. And
you used to roller skate to work.
Oh, were you a
okay.
roller skating waitress, like at the?
No, I have my own hair salon and I would skate every day. I could get there faster than getting in my car and driving to work
Oh, how
because,
fun!
yeah,
Isn't that cool?
yep, I did it every
It's like
day.
Steel Magnolias, but roller
On skates.
yeah, on skates. There we
Isn't
go.
that funny?
I also do musical theater, so I'm always thinking, of course, of the next musical. So,
Oh, what ones have you done?
the last one I did was Music Man. The Music Man. I was Marion.
Oh, you were Marion, the librarian.
Yeah, and
Laura,
Oklahoma.
how do you do everything?
I know it's crazy. I don't cook.
I am
I don't do.
impressed. I'm so impressed. Well, you know,
Yeah.
I've done a little theater myself too, but Meet Me in St. Louis, Steel Magnolias, I was Truvy, you know.
I
So,
wondered if you were Truly. I could totally see that.
but I
Yeah.
didn't have to sing in that one. But this is exciting. And now I want to know, how in the world did you get in the writing process? I mean, you've got a lot of talents. So what made you decide to write this first book?
Well, I think I've always liked writing. I can't remember a time when I didn't want to write. So it's just, I think out of all the things that I do, it's the thing that's the deepest and it's been around the longest. Like my mother would write my stories down. I would tell them to her and she would write them for me. That's how long I've wanted to write. And then I went to college and I actually got a degree in creative writing, which seems kind of, wow, why would she do that? But it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. I learned a ton. Stuart Diebeck was one of my professors. He's a short story anthologies. He's pretty well known in the Chicago area. And then after school, after I graduated, I moved up north for a summer to this town that I based Lantern Creek in my book on. And I was thinking, toying around kind of with writing a story about these quirky characters, these Northern Exposure type characters that I had met, but I always liked spooky stuff. I just like
Oh, we
spooky.
got to get you and Carolyn Haynes together.
So I thought, how can I like blend it with the supernatural? And one of the guys in my book, Mallard, the bartender, if anybody has read Evening in the Yellowwood, I was bartending with a guy that I'd based this character on, and I told him I was a writer, and he said, well, why don't you write about, and he had a terrible potty mouth, blankety blank 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 me and my buddies. And I thought, well, I should, because you're really interesting and strange. And this is kind of spooky up here because, you know, northern Michigan woods and the lighthouses and the spooky coastline. And it just kind of evolved into this paranormal mystery sort of set in the place where I lived with people that I kind of already knew. So like the pieces were there, I just fit them together. And then it just took off. I'm a pantser. I don't plot stuff. I've tried and I totally go off course. I look at my note cards and I just toss them. So it just evolved from me starting to write. It just went in these strange directions. So, and it seemed to work out. So at the end, I was like, oh, I hope I can tie everything together, but I was able to do it. So that's kind of how it came about. Was that way.
You ever have a moment where the characters take you places you didn't think you were going?
Yeah. In this third book, I had it planned out the last 3 lines. Like, she's going to say this, he's going to say this, she's going to say this. And I got to that point and it went, and I kept trying to bring it back. No, that's not what you say. No, you say this, he says this, you say this. And it just didn't go that way. They had other ideas. So I'm like, I'm just going to let it go because they know best. So I left it. And I think it's better than what I thought it was going to be. So yeah,
So
that's probably like the like most significant example of that.
Now you've been in this town since you went up there for a summer, or have you come?
No, I moved back home. I only spent 1 summer up there. I mean, I visit occasionally. Like I went up and did a book signing up there. It was really fun because like the people that I used to live with and know came to the book signing. And but yeah, occasionally I visit, but I only lived there for 1 summer. Okay. So yeah, I'm back down where I grew up.
And where is it that you grew up?
White Pigeon, Michigan, which is very close to the Indiana line. So in Michigan, we do this and we tell people where we live. So I'm I'm here,
Yes.
and the town I lived in was up here. So yeah, it was a long trip up and back, and then we just bought property right here. So
Oh.
you can always tell people where you are on your hand.
Well, I might have to do Texas. I might have to
Texas is like, yeah,
get
your head and
four
everything else.
hands or something, because it's people go, oh my gosh, it took me 10 minutes to get to town. I go, well, you need to come to Texas because it'll take you. My daughter lives in San Antonio.
Sorry, my dogs are barking. My kids were supposed to keep them upstairs, but
Well, they hear you talking and then they want attention. So
yeah, they hear anything and they bark. So that's their thing. But yeah, my husband really wants to come to Texas, so that's on our list.
Well, hopefully, one of these days we'll get over this pandemic and we'll be able to have live events again. So you're welcome to come down for a visit. I live in the woods, the East Texas piney woods, and I love it here in the winter. But I think I'd rather come up to Michigan in the summer. It is hotter than Hades down here in the summer and humid. So
it's humid here too, but I don't think it even touches your guys' humid.
Go to Houston. You're swimming in it. You're swimming.
Oh, no.
Or New
I don't
Orleans.
like humidity at all. Oh. I like the cold. It's fine with me. I don't mind.
Isn't it fun to be able to put on a sweater?
Yeah,
I
I've
just
got my
think it's
sweater on
great.
today.
Though
Yeah.
I won't tell you what the temperature was here today. It was so hot.
That's a bummer.
It's hard to believe tomorrow's December 1st. So I'm going to open this up for book club discussion. We got a lot of great people here today. So if you guys have anything you want to ask Laura about her first book, it's a trilogy. She's got the first two done. She's working on the third, and she will be featured at our annual convention. We're really trying, we're the only international book club convention that I know of. So I thought, there's a bigger picture to promoting literacy, and that's for all of us to join hands and help promote each other. Authors need the help. So if you're on board, get everybody to Kemp and on board with us because we need everybody reading your books. So
I love that. I love the sound.
So who wants to ask a question, anything about the writing process or yes, Mandy.
I want to know, so when you went up there and you started your story, and you wrote the story about when you were here, you came back down here. So how long was it that you went back for the book event, for your signing?
How long was it since I had written the book?
Yeah, so
many years, goodness. I hadn't been to that town for probably, lived there for 15 years.
So a lot of the people that came to the event, you hadn't seen them for 15 years?
Like the people that, I moved up there with a girl that I kind of based the roommate on, but her parents came. And I hadn't seen them for probably 15 years. And then just a mutual friend who came. It had been quite a while since I'd seen her too. And then some people, of course, that I had never met. But I did go up there hoping that maybe the bartender guy, that I had worked with, Squirrel was his name. But unfortunately, I know he passed away. I went up there I'd gone up there a couple of years before and went to the bar what I had bartended at to tell him that, hey, I wrote this book that you told me to write, and he had passed away, unfortunately. But everybody knew him. I mean, I walked right in 20 years later. Hey, where's Squirrel? And they all knew exactly who I was talking about. So he had been going and he'd been there up until he passed away like a year before. But I had kind of a cool thing happen when I was at the Mackinac Island bookstore signing. It was really rainy that day, and I hadn't sold as many books as I thought. And a bridal party came by. I posted this in Camp. I don't know if anybody read this. And I was just trying to make conversation. I said, well, where are you getting married? And I thought on the island, because everybody gets married on Mackinac Island. And she said, no, I'm getting married in Rogers City, which is this town that I lived in. And I said, well, this book that I have all these copies of is set in Rogers City. And then an older woman came up and she kind of looked familiar. And I said, well, I used to bartend at this and I knew Squirrel. And she said, oh my gosh, he was one of my best friends. So she was one of Squirrel's best friends. And the bridal party, there was like 8 bridesmaids. And I think this was the mother of the bride, bought all my books, every single one of my books. And I was sold out. I was only like 15 minutes from closing up completely because it was raining, and I sold all my books. And we both said, I think Squirrel sent you here.
Yeah, Squirrel was there.
Squirrel was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my
I
sweet little
love that.
story about him. So yeah, I got to sell all my books to the bridal party from Rogers City. So that was.
Oh, I love it. Oh, and so you and Nola, so
Yeah.
so you do the BYOB. Do y'all do another one together? Or is that the one that y'all do together?
We do BYOB. We did one today with Nancy Carey Johnson. We actually just did it earlier today. So I did that, then Taekwondo, and then came back here. But we also do dead folks tales occasionally. I like guests because it's spooky, and we all know I love spooky. Like I did a live ghost hunt, I think, on dead folks tales.
Yeah.
That tied in with my book. I did that once. We went to a graveyard and tried to find a glowing tombstone. I took my daughter and her boyfriend, and
Oh
it was
my
crazy.
God.
I don't know why we did it.
When you
There were
come
people
to
driving
Texas-
by. It was crazy.
When you come to Texas, you've got to go to Jefferson, where I used to live, because they have ghost walks.
Oh, I love that.
People come, hundreds of people go walking through this town at night and take pictures of orbs, and
Oh, how fun.
such
Yeah, I
a
love
historic
that.
town. There's a lot of, there were a lot of hotels and houses of ill repute. It was a port city. So you can,
Ooh,
like New Orleans, so you can imagine.
spooky
but
stuff. Yeah.
I could tell you some stories, some great stories. So anyway, when you come down, we'll have to steer you that way.
Yes, I would love that. The spookier
That's
the
so
better for me.
cool. And connect her to Carolyn Haynes. I think you guys, Carolyn
Oh
Haynes,
my gosh, seriously.
Carolyn Haynes is one of our authors, and she's a Harper Lee recipient. She's so cool.
She's inducted to the Alabama Writers Hall of Fame.
But she
And
has a group. What's her group, Mandy?
Well, it's not a group. It's just there's some people that get together, and one lady is a medium. So it's just this.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's they're not really on Facebook or anything. They just it's really cool. I've gone to a couple of them and loved it. But
I'll reach out to her. Maybe Sam's spooky sister.
Carolyn
You never
Haynes.
know. Carolyn Haynes. Okay.
Haines, not like
Okay. We
Mandy's.
might already be friends. Who knows?
Yeah, but she is fun, right? She's a lot.
oh my gosh, yes, and she'd love you.
Oh,
would.
cool.
Yep, that's
Thank
cool.
you.
Well, I
So
love
how are we
you
all doing
two.
on time?
We're doing
Again.
good. We're doing good. Anybody else want to jump in? Ask any questions about I've never really personally known anybody that went to school with creative writing. I know people that have gone back to school or got a second degree, but I've never known anybody. What made you decide on that just always wanted to be a writer?
I didn't want to do any math. I knew that.
Oh,
I know I have to do it now in the middle school. I help, and I'm better at it, but I'd always loved to write, and I just didn't know if my parents would be on board with it. So I kind of threw it out there, and surprisingly, they agreed to this for me to get this degree in creative writing. So, and we were doing stuff like poetry classes. They were called playwriting classes back then. They would probably be screenwriting classes today. Short fiction, and it looked so appealing to me, and it was so much fun. Like the professor that I told you about, Stuart Dybeck, his final exam. So he only taught once every maybe like 3 years because he was at Northwestern doing stuff. And I got into his night class, maybe 6, 7 other people in the night class. So I got a lot of specialized attention. Oh, it was wonderful. And I was really nervous turning in my first story because my mom, had always liked my work. My mom has to like my work, right? They have to. So I'm thinking, okay, this is where the rubber's going to meet the road. What is Stuart Dybeck He got it like a MacArthur Fellowship. He's like big. What was he going to think? And he's not going to hold back because this is a class. So if it's bad, he's going to give me. And so I handed it in and waited and got it back. And I was really nervous. And he had put the things on it, that needed changing, which was fine. I get that. But then at the very end, he said, "This is one of the best stories of the semester." And he goes, "The talent here is obvious." And I was like, "Oh,
Yay!
okay, Mom and Dad, it's a good thing."
Oh, very good.
Screw up and do the wrong thing. But then at the end of the semester, our final exam was just to meet him at Bell's Brewery, which is
Okay, I like this.
a bar. And we could bring a poem and we could read it if we didn't wanted to. And if we didn't, we could just hang out. And if we showed up, we got an A. So that was my creative writing. I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. So, and we would communicate sometimes afterwards. He's mentored me a little bit when I'm able to catch him, because he's gone all the time. He's totally off the grid. But when I can get a hold of him, he's been wonderful. I've gone to see him and he's been really helpful with me continuing my career. So
Laura,
That's a great story.
That would be a great Writers Club topic about mentorship. Maybe we can get you, Laura, to do that. We usually meet the second Tuesday of every month, and we have our
Saturday.
authors mentor to all of us. And think about that. We're not going to start up again until after our convention, but we've had so many. We had Eileen Sanchez last time, and she did a wonderful workshop on memoir versus fiction. It was fantastic. You can watch it on my Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel, because it's kind of one of those you want to watch 2 or 3 times because we always learn from these things. So we'd love to have you do that, like you have time. But anyway, what do your kids think about all this, and your husband?
well, my husband's very supportive, but he doesn't read. So I had to read him Evening in the Yellowwood as we were driving to Colorado. I said, "Now's a great time. Let's just read it." So it was funny because, there's adult parts in it, and my little kids are listening, and I'm like, "We're gonna have to skip this part. We're gonna have to skip this part." But he loved it. He loved that I read it aloud to him. My kids, I think they're getting used to it. At first they were, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's going on?" And I go into the school and I give talks. So a lot of times I'll be actually in their classes giving talks to school kids about my books, which I think they like. But only one of my kids has read the book. So I can't get them really. It's hard actually just to get kids to read. At this age, they're all, school age kids. So, but one has read
Especially
it.
their mom's book. It's like,
Yeah.
you're the mom.
Yeah, I know. So the one has
Just
read
don't
it.
know how
She's
cool
loved
you
it.
are yet.
Yeah, exactly. I did have some of their schoolmates come and ask me for my autograph though when I gave my talk. So I think they thought I was a little bit cooler then. After
Let's
that.
Remember that Billy Joel's daughter once told him, "Please, Dad, don't sing. It's just not good." So, I heard that he was talking and he said, so,
Typical kid, right?
imagine Billy Joel, you just can't, it's not good, Dad, don't sing. I had
Hey,
Yeah.
Laura, I'm not a plotter either. I'm kind of a pantser, but I do lay out certain things, especially with writing historical fiction. There's certain things I have to be aware of, but I also have points where my hero or hero 9 needs to do stuff. So how did you lay this one out? The first
Well, I kind of did it like maybe a dot to dot is how I had things that I wanted to have happen, and I kind of filled in between those dots. I'll do stuff like that. Like I'm actually writing a historical fiction right now. I've never done that before. And I have just these certain things that are really important that I want to happen. And then how to get from here to there, I just let it flow. But it has to kind of end up here.
Right.
And that's
Yeah, often I find it's easy to go from A to F than it is to go to A to B.
Yeah,
The
I
one thing
know.
I've done with historical fiction, you can get perpetual calendars and you find the one for the era that you're writing in. And then so everything is correct. If a certain event
Perpetual
that you're,
calendar. I've not heard of that.
yeah, you just go online and just Google it in, and there's different places that will do it. Like right now I'm working on 1942. And so there's certain important things that are happening in February 1942 that I have to pay attention to, because some
I
of them will
like that.
catch you on it if you don't mention it.
Oh boy, I bet
How
they
it
will
affects
catch
your
you.
characters. You know, your characters are affected by the events that are around them, but it's really handy.
Oh, good. I'll write that down. Thank you.
Yeah,
for the
yeah, a lot
advice.
of different
Because
companies do it. I just
idea.
print it off
Really?
and fill it in.
It's really different than writing something set, now. It's a lot
You
harder.
start at the beginning? Do you start at the beginning when you start a book, or do you just write
Me?
down the points? Yeah.
Oh no, I start at the beginning. Yeah, I just start at the beginning, and then I just have these certain things that I want to have happen, and then I just goes and I try to hit them all. I try to hit all of these things, and then I go back and I edit. I'm one of those kind of weirdos who really likes to edit, so I will go back. In fact, I'll edit probably too long. Sometimes I can look at my book and go, oh, I should have changed that name, or I should have changed that word. I could linger in that place forever. So I usually catch everything that is off in my extensive editing, which I should probably do less of. I don't know. It's my
Do you
perfectionism
read
that I love.
your work aloud to hear how it sounds?
Don't. No, I don't usually read it aloud. It's but because I do music, because I've been in this band and I'm a musician, I think I naturally tend to write things that are lyrical. Things have to have a certain cadence and a tempo for me. And if it has too many syllables, if a word does, I'll take it out. It's very melodic. I hear everything like a song. So maybe in my mind it is playing like a song would play, but I don't usually say it out loud unless I'm reading it to somebody.
Wow, that's so cool.
Did you know it was going? Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gil.
Did you know it was going to be a trilogy when you started out?
No, I wrote it as a standalone. And then when I got my publishing contract, they suggested that I turn it into a trilogy. And I loved the characters so much. And I felt such grief when the book was over, because some of these people I had really known, that I jumped at the chance. But then I had no idea how I was going to do it. I was like, I wrapped it up nicely. And I was really nervous because people were loving the first book, and the sequel pressure is really great to continue. And so I was scared to death, but I really wanted to do it. So I said, yes, let's give it a try.
That's great. Well, and the covers are just perfect. I mean, they're unusual. I mean, that all white one you just showed is very, standalone to me.
Yeah, it's the moss, the reindeer moss that grows here in Michigan. So as the snow in summer, and the first one is actually a picture I took. I took the picture behind our house as I was walking. I do a lot of photography when I'm walking. So I was able to use it as the cover. So that was awesome. I was glad they let me.
Singing. Do you dance?
I do, yes. I was in ballet. It's a ballet. That's actually my favorite thing to do in musical theaters. I love the dancing the best. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is getting great. Well, I love it. Now, are your kids, any of them showing any indication of maybe being like mom?
Well, they both entered the young writers thing. Both of my daughters did when they were, but probably not. My one wants to be an actress, the one who's going to New York. And with her boyfriend, they want to start a production company. Hey, that'd be great. Then they could produce turn my book into a movie. But and the other one wants to be an interior designer. So no, I don't have any that really love writing like I do, but I try to mentor kids at school that do. If any of my students are interested, I try to mentor them a little bit. That's
wonderful, because when I was in school, the only author I ever knew to have anything to do with this little town in Kansas was Laura Ingalls Wilder. And she was a
Love
pen
her.
pal for my aunt, my dad's younger sister's class.
Oh, how
So
cool.
it's a long story, but I actually have the letter signed by her. She wrote to that class. My aunt gave it to me with the book cover and all this stuff. And it's one of my most cherished possessions because
one of my
who didn't
favorite.
love Laura Ingalls Wilder? I mean,
No. Yeah, she was one of the reasons that I loved reading and writing so much, because I read those books when I was just tiny. Where did you grow up in Kansas?
Eureka. It's about 60 miles east of Wichita. Back
Is
when I
it
was
anywhere
coming,
near?
it's near Wichita. Do you know where Wichita is?
Well, I did some mission work in Hoisington, so I just wondered if you were near Hoisington at all.
No, it's in
It's
the
in the
south
dead center of the state.
hills.
Okay. I
No,
like Kansas a lot.
I love it. And on my way back, I saw the sign in Independence, Little House in the Prairie House.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been there a bunch of times and I almost veered off, but I had to get back for book club. So I didn't.
Oh, yeah. So Little House on the Prairie is in Kansas, isn't it?
There is one, yes. And there are quite a few of them actually, but
I
it's
made my
really
family go
cool.
to DeSmet. I made them. They didn't want to go, but
What?
we went 80 miles. No, nobody cared. I said, we're going 80 miles out of our way, one way. So what is that? 160 miles out of our way. And there, what are we doing? Where are we going? Said, we're going to DeSmet, and everything was closed because of COVID. But it's okay. We went and we looked at the graves, and I stood outside the windows and looked in Pa's house, and yeah. So I'm a big Little House fan too. So that's cool.
I love it. Have you ever been to any other author homes up there? Because I'm trying to think of who's from Michigan.
Hemingway's house is up in Walloon Lake. I'd like to check that out. Windermere, his summer cottage, but I haven't been there. I've been close. No, I don't think that I have been to any other.
Wouldn't it be cool if all the authors, wherever they're at, could do a segment on the author that lives near them, that there's a home? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
I mean, I took my kids for the 50th anniversary of To Kill a Mockingbird to Monroeville, Alabama, to watch at the courthouse the play. It was magical. I mean, we went
I bet.
to the museum, and there was nobody in town till about 4 or 5 o'clock. We had the whole town to ourselves, and it was eerie because we saw where Truman Capote, the house is gone, and where Harper Lee grew up, the houses are gone. But I got a rock. I mean, I
would do the same thing. I'd grab a rock too.
I grabbed a rock. I was a geology major too, but it would be very cool if authors could do that. See, when you go, you need to video it, and then
I will. When I go to Walloon Lake, I will videotape.
Next time I go back to Kansas, I'll stop at the Little House and do a little short video. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions from any of you tonight on the writing process? Anything you want to throw in? What is the most unusual thing that you have had happen since you started writing your book?
Well, sometimes it kind of catches me off guard when people in my little town come up to me and they'll say, "Are you Laura Kemp?" I'm like, "Oh," I had that happen when I was out to dinner with my husband recently, and it was ahead of a book club that I've been trying to get in touch with, and so we scheduled like an in-person book event.
So you're
people that I don't know.
Recognizable.
Kind of, a little bit. Yeah, that's always kind of strange for me. "Are you Laura Kemp?" And I'm like, "Yeah, am I in trouble? What did I do?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm a writer." They've read, it's hard for me sometimes to imagine, because when you're a writer, you just send your book out kind of into the void. It's not like you can go to a movie theater and watch your movie. You don't always know what's happening. So it's kind of a neat feeling to know that it's out there and it has a life of its own apart from me, knowing always what's going on, and there are people reading it and loving it. So that's been a really, and then of course the thing at the Mackinac Island bookstore was amazing when Squirrel's Buddy bought up all my books.
That's
That was a close second.
great story. You'll have to share it again if you put it up on your.
I did. I actually submitted it to Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've had another story printed, because I used to coach Special Olympics. So I had a Special Olympics story in there. So
Well, I think you need to submit it to Garden and Gun. Have you heard of that magazine? Garden and Gun?
Garden and Gun.
Oh man, they post the greatest stories. I mean, but it is Southern, so I don't know. There's Oxford American Magazine, which I adore, and Garden and Gun. But there's got to be some kind of magazine up there in Michigan that.
Yeah. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, put your feelers out on it because that's a.
But it is submitted. Story. It is submitted to Chicken Soup, so we'll see. Like I said, I've had one in before, so I get these special newsletters just for people who have already submitted. So hopefully, it'll give it a little extra to get in. So,
yeah, it would be. It's great because you just never know who may read it. What publisher might see that and say, "Hey, this girl's got a story." But that's a great. I love the stories behind the stories, and so
I do too.
Anything embarrassing ever happen at any of your book signings or anything?
I don't think my mother's gonna watch this, but it was my launch party, and I had like this. I mean, more people than I thought would come. Kind of a line out of my local library, and my mom kind of just like pushed her way to I think she didn't really think of me as an author. I think she still thought, and she kind of pushed her way to the front and like in front of people and asked me some random question about picking up the kids. And I was like, Mom, I'm an author. Stop. And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she kind of went off to the side. That comes to mind just off the top of my head, is that she forgot for a moment that I was actually doing a book signing.
I collected quite a few of those stories from authors, and they're all, some of them will you just gasp, but you think, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. You know, somebody showed up from high school to an author that I know that she couldn't stand. And she said, can you sign my book? And she said, no. She jumped up and said, take her away, get her out of here. And
high school's not over. Huh?
High school's not over. And they drug her out of the book signing because she was mean to her in high school. It's so silly, but
I did have somebody come who didn't like my book and proceeded to talk about how she didn't like the main character at one of my signings.
And actually said that to you and to people?
Yeah. She said she was shallow and immature.
But she had to come to your book signing to tell you.
Yeah, but she'd read it. So I kind of feel like Jack Sparrow. Oh, but you did read it.
I mean, seriously.
I've heard of me.
I'd mark that up as a win.
It's a win. You've read the book. Well, then when she left, I asked the librarian, I said, who is that? And she said, she goes, she comes to all of these signings that we have, and she always has something
negative
to say. So she was just persnickety.
And I've always said that if somebody says something bad to you on Facebook or anything, it tells you more about them than it does about your book.
It's hard as a writer to not bite back, but I think it's probably the worst thing you could possibly do.
I always love.
Of course, somebody can dislike the character, but like the book. You know, so if somebody writes you know, it doesn't mean she didn't like the book. She somehow you touched something in her soul.
In fact, Ron Rash wrote a book that I hated the characters so much I couldn't put the book down. Serena, have you ever read Serena?
No.
It was a film with Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence, and it was a fabulous film. Nobody saw it because these characters were despicable. But you know, it's hard to write somebody that bad.
It probably takes special talent.
It was something else. So
it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite of his, but I love Ron Rash.
I love Ron Rash, and he was a poet turned short story writer, and then writes wonderful novels. But Southern Boy, and teaches at one of the Appalachian universities. I can't remember which one, but I have to check him out. But we've got a fabulous author with us here tonight. So I hope everybody, Laura, checks out your books. I hope you have a splendid selling season. And as soon as we can get out there, Mandy and I are going to storm the country by tooting all of you guys' books, because the one thing about the world today is, unless you have big bucks or big celebrity status, you're not going to be seen by very many people. So the more of us that join together, more of us that
hard
join
pill
together,
to swallow.
Yes.
As an author, you think you're going to the promotions, and then you're like, wow, how am I going to do this?
Well, a lot has changed since my first book came out, and we've got our new one coming out. And I'm not sure how many of you all are in it, but Mandy's got it done, and it's fabulous, and we are thrilled. It'll be our January book club selection, work in progress. And how many authors do we have in it? There it is.
59.
59
Laura
of our.
and Janet are in, yeah.
I'm going to order it tomorrow.
Hey, you can pre-order it now. We're
Uh-huh.
really excited. And I know that it's getting close to time when you have to go, but Mandy has some super fantastic big news, because our December
My dogs are
Reading
excited.
Nation magazine is coming out tomorrow. And so why don't you share we gave a tease today of, I'm telling you, Mandy she's not only an angel, she's got talents like Laura. I mean, she's got so many of them.
Busier than me, I think.
I get so blown away, but tell them our big news that we're going to be putting out there. We're just a tease. It's only for you guys that are here tonight that are getting to hear this. So,
About the readers, because we've got a lot of stuff, but so we're dropping membership fees for readers.
we decided that so many people, because they couldn't meet in person, they just said, I just can't understand why, I have to pay dues if I'm not reading. And I go, I'm reading more than ever. I don't know about you guys, and we've created so many online programs. We just felt that it's more important to get as many readers back on. And what happened?
Well, we just love our readers, so we wanted to.
And tell them what happened when and they made the announcement today. We're up to, in the first few minutes, we were up to how many new members?
I think we have 147 now.
147. And we just announced it late today. So we're going to build up the readership for all of you. And then we have some new items up on our website, thepulpwoodqueens.com. Mandy has created a new swag shop. And it is incredible. It was just 8 pages of swag, y'all. I was kind of blown away.
Because I can't make just one thing.
No.
I was like, I'm just going to make some because everybody's like a whole bunch of people are like, I want a t-shirt, Kathy, make some t-shirts. Like a bunch of authors were like, we need new t-shirts. So I thought, okay, I'll put some t-shirts together. And then I thought, yeah, well, t-shirts made me think of sweatshirts, which made me think of coffee cups, like snuggle out. And then you need some book bags to carry your stuff in. And then,
Swag's fun. Swag's fun.
Yeah.
And our new bookshop is up and it's with the bookshop.org. So when you make a purchase, it benefits independent bookstores everywhere. And she's got all your books up there. And
it's so fun too, because we have the 2020 and 2021 reading list, like the book picks, but then we have other great reads by our Pulpwood Queen and Timberga authors. So it's just like going into a store and all the books on the shelves are Pulpwood Queen and Timberga authors. And you can order any from any author you want, from there. But it's so cool just putting our books on the shelves.
It's really neat. And what's really great about it is
I'm married to a timber guy. Sorry, I just had to throw that in real quick. He's actually a lumberjack, my husband.
Oh,
He's a timber guy.
You got to send us his picture. Maybe we'll put
Well,
it
he's
in the
pretty
shirt.
cute. He's pretty cute. He wears his red plaid jacket. In fact, I based a character in my second book on him. Second book has the timber guy.
He is, y'all, listen, he is really cute because I've seen him on your page.
I like to show him off every so often. Yeah, I've got a cutie. I've got a cutie real timber guy. So I don't know. Maybe he could show up as a timber guy at something. I don't know.
He should. And but anyway, you can go on the website now. They're live, they're up, and we've got lots more planned to get all your books seen by all our beloved readers.
Well, I felt like, you know, we are doing so much for authors, like with the magazine, and then Paul, you know, is doing so many different things. But we just needed to do something special for the readers.
Mhm.
So we're just dropping all the fees because it's like, we just wanted to do it and just put them, show them how much we appreciate them for still supporting us and wearing their tiaras and reading our books. So invite all your friends. Like, if they don't have to choose, like, just all reader, anybody wants to put on a tiara and read our books can join.
That's right.
That's a
And,
really smart idea
Yeah,
too,
that's
because people, the COVID has changed a lot of things about how people do things. And the idea is that you get a chance, like I listened to Anne Cleves through a library in the Shetland Islands on Zoom, and it was free. And she was wonderful because she has worked with these different librarians in Scotland, and she knew every one of the library's names, and they were so thrilled that their library was featured. But readers are looking for that, the opportunity, because you can't travel. That's not going to happen. Maybe, I think it's busted in some ways. So if you have a chance to meet with an author that's free, it's really exciting because they go tell their friends, they go tell their book club. And, you know, I belong to a book club. We're now 21 years old, and we're all retired reading teachers. And honestly, they picked the most interesting books. We're reading right now, this time next year, we'll be laughing. And it's by Jacqueline Winspear. And
oh
it's
my goodness.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's her
Yep.
memoir. And it's just as beautiful. We're going to talk about tomorrow at the book club's meeting on Zoom. We started meeting in person very carefully, but it's an amazing book. It's about her dad and her parents, you know, during World War II. Things that happened to her mother were incredible. And I think a lot of these things, she had a grandfather was in World War I. So all those things that she experienced are in those books. But, you know, I actually did watch her, I think about a year ago on Zoom through a library in California. And so this is a very smart move, I think. It's inviting readers to get a chance to listen to authors talk about their craft and what they're passionate about. And I think it's good. And I wanted to, before I go away, I wanted to ask, what are we supposed to do for the auction in January? Are we doing auction items again for?
Yes.
Yes.
We are doing auction items, and it's something to go along with your book or your story. And you do not have to send it to the Pat Conroy Center this year. Instead of you sending it to them, we're going to have you send it to the winner, the recipient, because that we just think that, and it's going to be going public on television in December. We're going to get a post, but he's been asked to come on TV to ask about the big fundraiser that we do for the Pat Conroy Center, and I'm thrilled about it, but it will be public. And what you guys need to know is you autograph whatever the item is, take a photo, and we're going to get you the information to send it to.
Well, I've already put the information in the, it's in the program that's live. So if you go to the Reading Nations bonus edition, that's the program for the Girlfriends Weekend.
It's there.
The information's there.
So we just post whatever we're going to auction. We send the picture to you, Mandy?
Yeah, you can send it to me and I'll send it to Jonathan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was so excited. We actually just got an email from him yesterday that they'd asked him to do this interview and talk about it. So Yeah.
And that's another reason why we asked you all to send us your book plates, because
Yeah.
if somebody buys your book on our bookshop and emails me, I'm going to send them book plates for all the books that they ordered. So we're trying to create, for our readers, that little extra something. So book plates are something very inexpensive. I've got a whole big basket full of them. And so as soon as people start ordering the books from our thing, they have to message me, because they don't really tell us what books are.
Yeah, I thought when I was setting everything up that when somebody ordered, you could see who it was, and what they ordered, but you don't know who it was, but you just see the book. So, but we're gonna, because we've got so much going on right now, after Girlfriends Weekend, we are gonna, so like a lot of people that send in book plates, their books aren't the official picks, but they're really good, they're really great books. So we're gonna do things where, I don't know, we'll take a week, Kathy will go through the basket of all the goodies that she's got. And we'll say, Laura, say if it's your book, I've got these book plates from Laura Kemp, order the books, this week, and, get this
And
swagger.
just so all of you will know, I'm going to take one of every book plate that I'm sent, take a photograph, and that's going in the auction. So somebody can bid on every, all the books. They get all the autographs.
Oh,
That,
wow.
if anybody's an autograph collector like I am, I have 6 books filled with autographs. And it's just a wonderful way. Then you can put them in your books. It increases their value. But I'm going to tell you, it's 7:56, and I promised Laura that she would be able to go and get her daughter off to New York City. Keep us posted on that.
Wow.
Because
I will. I'll
nothing
post
I love
pictures.
more than going to Broadway and seeing all the shows. In fact, Hugh Jackman's got a big one coming up. And
No, we're gonna go see it. We're gonna go see The Music Man.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a fantasy that Sutton Foster breaks her foot, and then because I've been Marion, that I jump on stage and I take over.
And you've got,
That's my fantasy.
But not that I want, like maybe sprain, not a break, a sprain, a really bad sprain.
Yeah, with sprain, and I'm sure her understudy will be gone too, so it'll be up to me.
Absolutely.
I'll have to jump on stage.
Oh, that's great. Well, come dress for the part, hon.
I will. I'll come dress in 1912 huge feathered hat. It'll be perfect.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm so jealous. Well, take photos and send them on back to us. And everybody, if you don't know, she's blogging this week on the Pulpwood Queen Presents her picks. So check out the blogs that are up, and there's more to come. And thank you, Laura. Thank you. What a wonderful evening, and to find out so many talents. Next, you're going to tell me you play the violin. I have no idea what all you do.
I don't do that.
I love
Something
it.
will come up though, I'm sure. But thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Nice meeting you all.
Thanks, Laura.
Nice meeting you too, Laura.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
This will be up on my Kathy L. Murphy channel later on. So we'll get it posted. And thank you, Laura. I'll send you a copy, okay?
Okay. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.